Hi everyone, this is Amanda Woodard and this is my Module 7 assignment, and we're talking about creating cultures of thinking and visible learning. So the first section we had was Ron Richards' main ideas. So he talked about visible thinking, Project Zero, and building cultures of thinking. So the first one, visible thinking, this was more talking about documenting students when they're exploring ideas. They talked about taking notes or with the younger ones recording interactions. I also thought about how students could be recording their own response, this giving them kind of ownership on their ideas and also a great use of technology in the classroom. I also added adaptive learning because I liked the chalk talk idea. It's similar to something I use. It's called Say Something, and it's an adaptive leadership strategy where I put up a main idea and the students have the opportunity to ask a question, state something interesting they learned or something they'd like to know more about, and then any remaining questions they might have. So Project Zero. Project Zero's mission is to understand and nurture human potentials, and this is through learning, thinking, ethics, intelligence, and creativity. I liked that they talked about a thinking routine and having that established in your classroom. Again, I added adaptive learning at the bottom because I now see how these are kind of all intertwined ideas. It talks about how it's not just enough to teach thinking to students, but we need to build that thinking routine in our classroom and show them how to utilize that tool. It's going to create deeper thinking and better understanding for our students. So the other main idea was building cultures of thinking. I thought about OTRs and providing students with the opportunity to respond. So on that site, it talks about allowing for think time, and I liked assuming positive intent when collaborating. That is an idea that also I learned through adaptive leadership, where when you come in with assuming positive intent with other people, it gives you a good mindset to come in to work with others and kind of giving the opportunity for everyone to contribute and collaborate with a positive atmosphere and time to work together. So the videos that I really liked, I liked the See, Think, Wonder. Was the first one, and it was showing how a teacher, he provided students, it was like a health class. He put up a picture and then the students had a graphic organizer that was a See, Think, Wonder. So what do you see, what do you think, and what does that make you wonder? It showed the students' responses also, and I like that it was general enough. It gave students opportunity to kind of provide their perspective. And I like graphic organizers because it gives students kind of some framework, but also gives them the opportunity to have some ownership over what they're doing. I also liked the building social emotional culture. As our school counselor, that's something I think a lot about, is how to improve or change our school culture to provide a positive atmosphere for our students. I love the building community, that they're building community in the classroom. With their morning meetings. It created transition time, which I really liked. I thought even with our older students, that would be like how we do a bell ringer. There's no reason we couldn't do a morning meeting where it gave students an opportunity to share and hear from peers and kind of have that transition time to get them in the mindset to start feeling focused. I also like that it made the students feel included. We have SEL every Friday for a whole class period, but I think doing the daily update would give us more positive results because it would be a regular thing instead of maybe the student not sharing, or by Friday, maybe the situation has changed, but maybe there's a solution we could find if we dealt with it sooner. I like that it created a safe place for students, and it also provided an opportunity for positive interactions among students. So John Hattie, I was thinking about the major concepts for him. So I thought about hinge point and really thinking about that, point 40 and evaluating how effective what we're doing is. I like the idea of not being tied to specific teaching strategies and knowing that we can always evaluate what we've done. And if we did not get the effect we wanted, that we're always allowed to make adjustments and try it again. The 4 critical parts of planning. This one really spoke to me because I'm a teacher who does not have provided curriculum. So I create everything we do in the classroom, from our worksheets, our rubrics, our ideas. I just use our state standards and national standards and try to create lessons I feel like students can complete and get the purpose of what we're doing, and it will relate to those standards. So I just liked these critical parts because I feel like this is important and hopefully what I'm already doing. But the prior achievement, so that's the levels of students where they're starting. And I think that's important to understand our students' strengths and weaknesses and what we can do to get them to where they need to be. And then targeted learning, so the desired levels at the end, where are we trying to get them at the end? One thing I did think about this more is making sure that I know that like all my students may be at a different spot when we're at the end. But I know that my students are doing the best that they're capable of doing. So progression, rate of progress from start to end, keeping in mind how long is this going to take, making sure that I'm doing, formative assessments so that I know where students are and not trying to rush them through, because then they're not going to retain what we're learning. And then teacher collaboration. So like, what is my role in this? How am I a part of it? Those are some main ideas I took away from that PDF. So thinking about the bodies of research, I thought about the visible learning, and thinking, how that's such a good assessment tool. It's not something super structured, but also allows some quick feedback from students and also seeing what information they're taking back. Cultures of thinking, I just really love those sections because it's such an important part to me. And I like seeing how there's things that we could do that are creating these positive learning environments for our students. Because I think that's where we have to start. We have to make our students feel safe and cared for, and that we want the best for them. And I know a lot of teachers will say that's one of those things that's like outside what you think a teacher does, but being nurturing and being supportive and keeping them safe is a huge part of what we do every day. So then when I went over the survey results, and again, sorry, I cut off the bottom of my graphic. I liked question 17. I was thinking about, if someone came in my room, would they be able to see like displays in my room to understand what we're learning or the content, things like that. So it seemed like a fair amount of people kind of fell in the middle. But I think that most of us are fairly new to the profession, and so we're always learning and changing. So it's okay to be in a starting point. And I cannot remember exactly what I put, but I thought after looking at this, I'm like, okay, so there's obviously things I can do in my own classroom to change. I am really big on doing activities on the wall. Like I talked about, doing the say something. So especially with my seniors and juniors, I like to give them a space in the room where they're going to give some feedback, whether it's answer on a Post-it note and they're going to put it on my main idea or whatever. I like to leave that stuff up for a while, that we can always reference it. But I definitely was thinking about how like displays in my room inspire learning in the subject area. That's something that I could improve on. I also teach yearbooks, so really on our walls are covered with schedules and kind of to-do lists. But I do think that I do a pretty good job of displaying positive messages about thinking and learning. I have a chalkboard that I do chalkboard markers, and I change it every month to hopefully be inspiring. I let students kind of pick out of like the 3 options I'll give, and they put it up there. And so this year's theme is historical women. So that's been kind of fun to students will say like, well, I Googled, Eleanor Roosevelt or Ella Fitzgerald, and I really loved this. And so I try to put those up in hopes that they got something out of doing the research and they feel like they're included in my classroom because I put something up that they contributed. And then arranging the space in the classroom. I have clusters of desks. I did this because I was pretty relieved when we didn't have to have all my desks spread out for social distancing. So I put them in clusters. That way students could engage with each other. But honestly, if we have discussions in class, I like to do small campfires. So students take their chairs and move to another area where they're like in a circle to eliminate the barriers. And then like my wall displays, like I said, that's something I definitely need to work on because right now we're kind of covered with deadlines and pages that need to be complete or ads that need to be created. So that's probably not very appealing to someone who might pop into my room. I do use a variety of ways to document capture thinking. We all have, well, maybe I should only speak for myself. I have like a Google site for my classroom. I also have one, like an Instagram and a Facebook for my classroom. That's been approved by my school. But I like to put pictures on there of students doing creative activities, and just that way everyone in our community sees what's going on. It makes them feel a part of the learning, and they could ask students, why did you guys do this? And they could tell them, well, because the purpose of the day was whatever it was. So then a visitor would be able to discern what I care about and value when it comes to learning. My classroom, I have like lots of plans. I have flexible seating. This year I have mostly high school. In the past I've had mostly junior high. So it was a little more high structure. Now I'm more like moderate, low structure with my seating. I still have a seating chart, but I like them to have the freedom to feel like they got to choose. But I feel like if somebody came in my room, they would see maybe, I don't know. That may be something I need to work on. I feel like they would see that I care about my room. I've spent lots of summers, 2 summers at this point, painting and buying furniture and getting new shelves and doing all kinds of stuff to try to make my room, as a couple students have told me, a total vibe, I guess. Yeah, so those are things I could work on, and also some things that I really feel like I'm strong at. So my question are, what's some strategies that you use for visible learning? Really, for me, I feel like the visible learning is really important and something I should improve on. So if anyone has some great feedback or ideas, I would be very appreciative. Okay, thank you guys.